Hi, it's Jess here from Nigezza.co.uk and I'm here today with some crafty storage. So I've got this ribbon rack here that sits on my desk, and what I find sometimes the spools fall over, and I was talking to my sister. I quite often craft over Zoom with my sisters, and one of them was saying she's got her ribbons in a box but they fall over, and then it just looks a mess and it's a pain to get them. And I was thinking, oh, I don't quite know what to do, because she says it'd be nice if you could just put one ribbon in a thing, and I was like, well, that's really difficult because the spools are different sizes. So and then on the 1st of July I was on a video hop, and one of the members of the video hop made a little basket, and she made this basket, and then she had this trio pack of ribbon, and she worked out that they will just fit in quite nicely. So I went, genius, love it, going to do that. So I have to give a shout out to Heather from Nellie's Hobbies, who worked this one out. So I will link to her original video as well, so you can check it out. But I have sort of reinforced it a little bit to give it a little bit of strength, and it means that although that's full, but if it wasn't, they're not going to fall over. So if all of these were in little boxes like this, they're not going to fall over. And I love it. And it means that if you were working with the DSP that this matches, you can just bring that out onto your desk and use it, and then when you're finished, put it back, and it saves having the spools everywhere. So yeah, so that's what we're going to make, and they do fit quite nicely in this, which I quite like. You'd either have it up like that or up like that. Don't really matter, does it? Can you see that? Am I off camera? You know, so I'm doing things over here and you can't actually see. So yeah, you can either have them with it like that, or you can have it like that. So yeah, I'm gonna bring that out so that we can see it. And it's really super simple. So you need some 6x6 cardstock to make the base. Heather made hers out of DSP. She was making a little basket, but I want it to be a bit more robust. So I'm using, this was under the mistletoe. That was a couple of Christmases ago. I always keep these when I get DSP. Sometimes they come in, what was I making there? Oh, that was from old books. Sometimes they come in this sort of chipboard. So like things like foil sheets, and that will come in chipboard, and I am using this as well. But your DSP come in this sort of quite thick card, so that's what I'm using. I don't want the section with the writing on it. I want the section without the writing, so I'll use that for something else that I'll end up covering all that, but in this it possibly won't. So this is 6x6, and we're going to score at 2 on all 4 sides. Okay, so we're going to make ourselves a nice little sort of grid, and then we're going to fold and burnish. I'm going to keep the shiny side on the outside, I think. Could put it on the inside. Doesn't really matter. Whichever's your preference, or you could use ordinary Whisper White cardstock or any colour that you fancy. And then we're going to cut up 2 of these score lines, and then on the opposite side. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to stick that together so that the point meets at the top, okay, on both of those sides, and then that will be stuck up there. Okay, so what I do is you can kind of, I'm at a window here, and you can kind of see through that a bit. So I'm going to take my Tombow, and because I can sort of see through, I know where to put my glue. on there, and then I glue that way. So that's the way I'll work that out. Give it a sec to dry, and then we do the same on the other side. Hold it there at the point. I can kind of see the shadow at the back there, so that I know where to put my glue. And then we'll move it out and hold that down. And then we want to put glue around this square and glue that in place there. Now you may want to neaten up those score lines, but it really doesn't matter because I'm going to cover them, so I'm not bothered. If I wasn't covering them, I would. Heather did this with the Playful Patterns DSP that actually matches that trio of ribbons that I've got, and so they actually looked really good. She didn't cover the sides, and they actually the DSP looked really good like that. So if you've got these inners of well, you know, the reinforcers of cardstock packaging, you can get 4 of these out of one of those, or you might have some 12 by 12 cardstock, in which case again you'd get 4 of these. But obviously if you're using ordinary standard cardstock, then you'd get 1, and then you'd have some spares. Now I want to cover. Now I've left my measurements. So I'm going to get my measurements for the cover, and I'm going to cut a piece of cardstock that's 3.5 inches by 2 inches. So I've got somewhere a scrap of. I'm going to be covering this with Blackberry Bliss because it's my favourite. Okay, so we are going to cut this at 3.5. That go that way, so we'll do 2.5 this way. 2.5, and then we're going to cut to 3.5. Okay, now that is clearly the wrong shape. So I did quite a bit. Well, it's not quite a bit, but I did have to do a little bit working out of what I did. So put that on the scoreboard. Okay, now we make a little mark at the halfway mark, which is 1 3/4. Okay, so that's at the top, and then swizzle it around so you're then at the other end of the long side, and then from each end you're going to score at 7/8. Okay, not score but make a little mark. 7/8 from that end, 7/8 from that end, and then turn it to the short side with the single notch up there. You're going to mark at 11/16, which of course we can't do on the scoreboard. We actually need the trimmer for this, so we want to go 11/16. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8 at the halfway, 9, 10, 11/16 there, and then just want to do a little notch at the top and a little notch at the bottom. Yep, I can see those. Okay, that is so that I'll know now where to cut. Now you could do this on the trimmer. I'm just going to use my scissors that are nice and long, and I cut to meet those notches. And then we've got that sort of pentagon shape, and that will mat on there fairly nicely. It's not perfect, but it's good enough. I might just trim that one slightly. You can faff with it a little bit if you want, but there, so that's a bit better, like so. And then what I did was, having worked that out, I then used the chipboard. Now I can't find them, there they go. So I then got a bit of that chipboard and I made myself a template, because I will be making some more of these for this. So I'm actually gonna just trim this ever so slightly so that it meets my template a little bit better. Because I've done the template out of chipboard, it'll there, that's a bit better. Okay, and then I want to do some matting onto this, so I decided I could use DSP. I'm going to save those bits because we know that I can make little flowers out of them, so they ain't going nowhere. So what I wanted to do was, instead of using DSP, I'm going to do some stamping, and I have got the little skeleton leaf from Rooted in Nature. Absolutely love the look of the skeleton leaf. Just realised I don't have any DSP there, so I'm just going to use a bit of Whisper White. I'm going to bring in scrap bit of paper, because I will be going off the edge, and I am just gonna, I'm not sure that that's big enough actually. Have I got a bigger piece? Hear me? No, let's get a bigger piece. So I forgot to say that this is the project that I have made for the Ink Stamp Share special blog hop. So since we went into lockdown, we have done, normally we do a monthly blog hop with a theme, but we've been doing this extra one, and it's like anything goes, no theme, do what you want. So that's what I have decided to do for this month's Anything Goes. So just stamping all over. I really like the way it looks when it overlaps. When I first started making cards, and I remember I used to be able to buy the skeleton leaves, and I just loved them. I used them on loads. Always found them quite difficult to stick on, but I just loved the look of them, and I remember seeing the Rooted in Nature stamp set on stage and thinking, oh, it's got skeleton leaves. I was so excited, and of course there was that lovely DSP that had skeleton leaves as well, and I really liked that. That was a sheet I saved. Now I'm covering up all the white bits, so it just looks like I've laid down lots of skeleton leaves on top of each other, which I do remember doing once for a card, creating a background. So going all the way over. Oh, a little bit there, and there, and there. There. So I think that's quite a nice effect. I like it. So move that out of the way, give that a clean. There we are. And so what I want to do is do some mats now to go on the inside of that. So it's going to be slightly smaller, and the measurements for this are, and they will all be on my blog, so don't worry about writing them down or the fact that I might have got them wrong. So we're going to cut at 2 and, gosh, now I don't know, did I write 2 3/8 or 2 3/4? 2 3/8. 2 3/8. I think I did a quarter to begin with and it wasn't quite tall enough. 2 3/8 by 3 1/4. And we are going to do some marking on this like we did before. There's no 16ths on this one, so I'll do it on the board. Oh! And on this one, again, we're going to mark at the centre point, which is 1 5/8, and then swivel to the bottom. And at the bottom, we're going to come in at 5/8, 7/8 even. 5/8 is the other one. So we're going to come in at 7/8 from that side, and 7/8 from this side. And then with the single notch at the top, I'll leave it on this side so you can see, the single notch on the top, we're going to come down here 5/8, and we're going to do that at the other end as well. So we've got our markings on that for cutting off. And again, I made myself a template for that as well, and I've written on both of them DSP mat for the and a cardstock mat for my ribbon storage, so that I've got them for use. Okay, so I'm going to do the cutting on this side so I can see. So that point to that point, that point to that point, that point to that point, and that point to that point, and then that should mat on there quite nicely. Slightly out, but not enough to worry about. I'm gonna marry it up to my template there. Yep, slightly out with that. So I'll trim it against my template. There we go, and that's better. Okay, so then that would just pop on there, cover that up, look quite pretty. And I want to do those ends as well, and those ends are a 2 by 2 square, quite simple that. And so we're just going to cut, I did bring my little trim of that to make it easier. So I'm going to my scrap bin again, and I need to cut 2 squares in there. I think that will do it. Oh, that one might do it. In 1 7/8. So that, yeah, that will do. So 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. Oh no, that's not quite right. Oh well, never mind. 1 7/8. We'll start again. By 1 7/8. I need 2 of those. That wouldn't be right. Have I got a scrap that I can take that out of? No, I've got that which I had cut with my stitched rectangle. Oh well, never mind. We'll use that. I'll take that stitched off. I think it's been there a while. I've clearly not used it. So 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. I always have my scraps in a little plastic envelope thing like this next to my full packs, so that I don't have to cut into a great big sheet all the time. I've got it there and it's handy. And then I'm going to, what have I just done? I've just cut it there, haven't I? I had one already prepared earlier, so this is just for these. So I am cutting at 1 3/4. Do you know, I don't know where my head is today. 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. Was I clever? And that is 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. Oh, well, that was by fluke. It certainly wasn't by design. Yep, and then I've got that for another one, because I will make a few more of these. So got that one ready, and I had one prepared earlier, just like Blue Peter. There we go, that was one I did before. So I just need to stick these together. I might just flatten out that little notch a bit better. Not that I'm that precious, really. It's my crafty storage for my desk. It's not to give to someone for a present. There we are. And I'm saying what's handy about this as well is when I'm prepping for projects that I'm going to film, having them in these little boxes is quite handy. And I've placed my pre-order from the new Autumn Winter catalogue, and so I've got quite a bit of Christmas ribbons come in, so I did need to solve my ribbon storage. And these would probably go in the Stampin' Up storage as well. Not that I've got the open boxes, but I would imagine they'd go in there quite nicely. So got a little bit of oozing, so I would like to clean up. That's better. So now I'm just going to stick these on the sides, and this adds a little bit of strength as well, so that will make the suddenly looked and I thought, you haven't been recording this, but I have, and this will add a little bit of strength and therefore make your storage last a bit longer. So I did it on this one because this was just made out of normal cardstock and I felt it was a little bit flimsy. And it just needed something, I think. I do love all my handmade crafty storage because you can make it to your own specifications and you can make it in your favourite colour as well, which for me is Blackberry Bliss. And then I'm just going to put these backs and fronts on, which, I mean, you're not really going to see much of this, you're not going to see the size, but you are if you take it out and have it on your desk whilst you're working. So I think that's quite nice. So because this is the shiny side, it's going to take a little bit longer to stick down, but it will do. I made my large pack of die storage out of these things as well. and that's still going strong, although I do think I need to make another one because that one's full now. I didn't used to have that many of the large packets, but I have now. So it seems that a lot of the dies that I've bought recently are all in those big packets. So there we go. So that is my little ribbon storage, and I think that looks cute. And where were those spools of ribbon that I was going to put in them? Oh, moved them away. So there we are. That is the spools of ribbon that go in. So these are, so that one's got a thicker one, so they fit in perfectly. These are like normal size ones, so there's a bit of space. I don't think I'd get another one in, to be fair. No, so I wouldn't get another one in, but if I had a thicker one, there's a thicker one. That's a retired one. So if I take out my lovely faux suede, which I just keep stroking, so there you see, so that one, so you get a thicker one and two thinner ones. They fit really nicely. Oh! Yeah, and you can just chuck them around. That's the other thing you can do. Oh dear. Oh, there's some dimensionals down there. Oh, there, amazing what you find when you go diving down the back of your film desk. There you go. So so that's that. I'll hang on to them. That's I wouldn't normally be tipping it that way. That was only to show you. So yeah, hope you like that. All the details over. Nearly did it again on nigezza.co.uk. Do pop over. I will link to the blog post, and you'll be able to go and hop around as well. So yeah. I'm going to have to stop fiddling because it's all going to pup. Look, I can't speak today and everything's all dropsy. Okay, see you again soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm not normally this clumsy.